years. So I did a story a long time ago on the Edina school district in Minnesota, and I was talking to you about it, I think yesterday. This was the #1 school district in the state of Minnesota, and they were worried about the achievement gap because they wrongly assumed that all gaps are due to racism. They introduced a racial equity curriculum. What ended up happening was the Edina school district as a whole is no longer the #1 school district, and the most negatively impacted students of that school district were the black students, the very same ones that they were trying to help. One of the reasons why the curriculum was so negative for them is because it emphasized like a lot of the things that we see in critical race theory. Like specifically, I believe it was Regina Austin, and I could be wrong on that, so somebody fact check me like a nerd out in the audience on your Google phones, where she was saying that that Ebonics, which they call African American Vernacular English, is a legitimate form of language, and we should teach black kids in that, because trying to get them to conform to a standard American English is a form of black genocide. It's cultural genocide. The problem with that, I mean, you might say, okay, people talk on the street and they have differences from when they talk on the street versus work. That's perfectly normal. And it's like, sure, but school, they should teach you standard English because there's no textbooks written in Ebonics. There's no, in any subject at all.
Curious,
so what we actually are doing,
dominant culture, perhaps?
So what we're
Maybe we should do our comic in Ebonics too, so we have a second language covered. What do you think, Sitch?
Oh no!
What do you think? Ebonics version. Look at this. Look at this. Sean coming out with another example of leftists shooting themselves in the foot again.
I know.
They always do this. Learn some fucking psychology, you morons. It's just, it's so obvious. All this stuff can be cleared up if you just learn some science.
we're actually doing is create.
Would you describe that as a dominant culture? Yeah, this construction of language is an example of a dominant culture, which is one of the things critical race theory goes over.
Yeah, look at that. He's going off. He's like, how dare you? How dare you?
That's perfectly normal. And it's like, sure, but school, they should teach you standard English because there's no textbooks written in Ebonics.
Right.
There's no, in any subject at all.
Curious,
so what we actually are doing,
a dominant culture, perhaps?
So what we're actually doing is create.
Would you describe that as a dominant culture? Yeah, this construction.
So they're upset that standard English is a dominant cultural practice in America. Is that what's happening in this conversation?
I know.
That's why they rewinded. I didn't believe that they would actually make this dumb fuck argument.
It's so bizarre too, because a lot of these, changes in language come apart from people wanting to separate themselves from the dominant culture to be fucking cool. They don't want to be the status quo. They want to be fucking hip.
Right.
Yeah. But then at the same time, they get mad because it's like, oh, you got the dominant culture. It's like, what the fuck? Do you want to be edgy and subversive and cool? Or do you want to be the fucking status quo? You can't be both. Come on, moron. It's like you want to complain about the status quo and be edgy at this. Get the fuck out of here.
An example of a dominant culture, which is one of the things critical race theory goes over. There is no basis to say one form of a language is valid and another form is.
Yes, there is. But you have to decide. You have to. I know.
God.
This is how society works. You have to have standards. You have to have fucking standards. Standards that everybody adheres to. Otherwise, you don't have a fucking society. God, this shit is so triggering.
What a moron. What an absolute imbecile.
He wants...
I got to hear it again. It was so stupid.
Would you describe that as a dominant culture? Yeah, this construction of language is an example of a dominant culture, which is one of the things critical race theory goes over. There is no basis to say one form of a language is valid and another form is invalid, other than whites have a dominant culture in this language.
Oh my God.
Look, he goes even further.
Fucking moron.
He goes even further. He throws.
Oh my God.
He's like, gotta throw whites under the bus while I'm out of here.
There's no standard. This guy just said there's no standard of which to judge a language as being more valid than another, or a form of type of language. Okay, there is a standard. It's this little thing. I don't know if you're aware of this, Adam. I don't know if you know what the entire fucking point of language is. I'm not sure if you're familiar with this.
It's for communication.
Oh, that's right. The point of language is so you could take those dumb thoughts that you have rattling around in your little meatball brain and then put it through your mouth hole, and other people can know what the fuck you're talking about. So if 90% of the area is using one form of language to communicate, and you have 10% of the population says, fuck you, we want to talk in a completely different form of the language where we bat sticks together and make fart sounds, and everyone says, wow, you look like a fucking moron. No one understands you and you're farting. That's a bad form of language. And then you say, well, there's no basis of which your language is better than ours. No, because that's what everyone's fucking using. If you can't use the language that everyone else is using, you can't communicate with them. And thus the language has no fucking purpose.
God, you sound racist, Sitch. I can't believe you'd say such a thing.
To say, oh my God.
How dare you shit on the stick farters, okay? That's a real culture that you're denigrating.
Like, it's,
don't denigrate the stick farters.
There was some language, I don't remember what it was called, that like decades ago, I think someone tried to come up with a united language that that the entire world would like speak. I forget what it was called. And guess what? No one wanted to speak the stupid made-up language that everyone was supposed to speak, okay? And you know what that means? That means that language is stupid and not valuable, okay? That's the criteria. If no one uses the language, it's not valuable language. If all the successful people in your society speak in one way, that's what makes it valuable, okay?
Yes.
That's what makes it valuable, because we as human beings intrinsically imitate other human beings,
especially successful ones.
And so if we say, hey, all the successful people are talking and acting in some specific way, people are going to imitate that. So if you say, fuck being successful, I'm going to talk in a way that's anti-success, well, guess what? You're preparing yourself for failure. Okay?
Yes.
Why are we doing this? This is so stupid. There's no standard. Yeah, the standard so people understand you. Fuck.
Yeah. There's not a lot of understanding going on in this debate, so it makes sense that would be his position.
Well, this is like brain dead cultural relativism 101.
Yeah.
No, every culture, there's no way to there's no standards of how to judge cultures, Adam. There's no standards of how to judge languages.
How is someone in a CRT debate live in front of a studio audience and they don't even know about the legislation that they've been passing, the anti-CRT legislation? That's why I'm just saying, like, I mean, I know about that shit. I know about that shit just from the show.
Because it doesn't matter.
I know all about it.
Why would you want to go into debate about
DeSantis
CRT?
did a CRT thing in Florida. He was trying to do an anti-CRT bill.
Adam, I don't understand you, Adam. Why would you want to go into a debate where you say that all these anti-CRT bills are bad, but have actually read the CRT bills? I don't understand why you'd want to do that. It doesn't make any sense to me.
It's called ethics, okay? Let me tell you how it works here.
Ethics is a losing strategy. I don't know if you've seen who's popular nowadays.
Well, you have a point there, but I like to use it. I know it's quaint and antiquated, and not a lot of people are into ethics these days. They aren't as fashionable as they used to be, but I still like it. You know, it's me. Don't make fun of my identity.
Right.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Michael. I'm also from fucking Appalachia. We have a different dialect. We spell words funny.
Texas,
we
man.
have not the dominant culture. And guess what? There's an achievement gap. So why do you lean into something like culturally responsive and culturally sustaining teaching that maintain and exaggerate those cultural differences?
Oh, thank you.
Devastating.
And I bet this will never get a response.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
They're not even equipped to understand it.
Right. And James very smartly was able to map it onto a white cultural difference and say, listen, where I'm from, all the white people, they speak with the Southern drawl. They say things a little differently. Okay. We all say things a little differently, but that doesn't map onto the dominant culture, which ends up becoming generally the most successful culture. So why would you want to be teaching people ways to fail?
Yeah. Why would you want to alienate children from the success that they can achieve?
Now, I haven't seen this part of the debate, but I'm going to predict here that this question will not be answered.
Yeah, no.
At all.
Dodge.
Look, the multicultural experiment was a failure.
And if you speak in a language the students do not understand, the lesson will not resonate with the students.
Listen, we can make an app show.
Okay, so
his response is that the kids won't like it, basically.
A bad answer.
Remember when you could beat kids into submission? Those were the good old days. You just be like, you don't like this? How do you like this?
I did not agree with this.
You gotta beat. Sometimes you have to beat kids into submission.
Okay, I'm not sure I agree with this.
Metaphorically, in a video game, right?
There
I know I know the workarounds. I know the internet workarounds.
You know what? Here, maybe you're onto something. Okay. From now on in school, all kids will participate in a class-wide Minecraft server. And if they ever mouth off to the teacher, the teacher's gonna go in and spawn a bunch of creepers in their building, in their base, and they're just gonna blow it all the fuck up.
Oh,
and I say, I just killed you in a video game, motherfucker.
That's good.
Okay, pay attention.
That's good. You didn't? Did you? Were you ever paddled in school? Did you have paddling?
Of course not. What are you?
Of course
paddled in school?
Of course not.
How old do you think I am?
I know.
Jeez.
Well, you're a lot younger than me, but I mean, we had paddling in school when I was super young. Obviously,
that explains Adam.
Yeah, no, they obviously
wasn't paddled enough.
They don't have paddling in school anymore. But I always think maybe they. I don't. How do you deal with things if you don't have?
I mean, listen, my parents, they would hit me, but not the teachers.
That was my next question. Did you ever?
My parents would spank me. Yeah.
Did you have paddling at home? Okay, so you've been.
They didn't have a paddle, but yeah.
Right. You've got the belt.
I've been spanked as a child. Yes, I've been spanked. Yes.
Yeah. My parents didn't do any. My parents are basically hippies in California, so I never got
there
any
you
of
go.
that stuff.
That explains so much.
I did get some paddling in school though. But that was a Catholic school, so.
So you got off on it?
On the paddling?
Yeah.
No, of course not. It
was.
was.
I'm very sure about that.
Of course
not.
It was public. It was effective. I mean, it is a form of public shaming as well.
Of course.
Paddling kids in front of the class and whatnot.
Argument about how every dialect is just as valid as another dialect. But here's the thing. English is an international language of business. In India and everywhere else where they're teaching English, they're teaching standard American English. There is a wealth of scholarship throughout decades, centuries actually, written in English.
How racist is that? They will teach Indians in India standard American English, but we can't teach blacks in America standard American English.
No. Why can't?
Fucking racist is that?
Listen, I'm tired of these racist Indians learning standard English. They need to be learning Ebonics. Okay.
Oh my God, that would be the ultimate troll. let's tell India that this is the new standard American English. Come on, that'll be great.
There you go. You're worried about the Indian achievement gap in America. There you go.
Yeah, I cannot think of anything funnier than Ebonics in an Indian accent. Come on, that's comedy gold.
You racist.
Please do it. Make it happen. Watch out, you're gonna get some super chats.
I know. Look what you've done.
This is why the Scottish, when they had their intellectual reformation, they needed to learn English, because in order to grasp the knowledge, they needed to learn appropriately the languages where the knowledge was all captured and written down. If there were this length of scholarship in Ebonics, then this wouldn't be an issue. The fact is there isn't, and this is one of the reasons why black literacy lags behind in this nation. So you're advocating for a policy in order to solve a gap that by its very nature will lead to greater gaps in the future. And we
leftists shooting themselves in the foot again. I fucking love it. The three things that John McWhorter talks about, lifting the black community out of eliminating these wealth disparities. Number 2, reading programs. Fucking reading programs.